according to a certain. Yes. Yes, you join. The scientific process of organizing different organisms into groups according to a certain set of characteristics is called biological classification. You have to remember that. You have to write down that and remember that what is biological classification, that you have to, that is organize, that means you have to organize different groups of different organisms into various groups and how you have certain set of characteristics according to a certain set of characteristics. That is very important. According to a certain set of characteristics is called biological classification. That is very important, that you have to remember. And another thing is that another that is definition of a biological classification is that the scientific ordering of organisms. That is the scientific ordering of organisms. Okay, the scientific ordering of organisms in a hierarchical series. Okay, in a hierarchical series of groups on the basis of morphological, evolutionary and other relationship is called biological classification. The scientific ordering of organisms in a hierarchical series of groups on the basis of morphological, evolutionary and other relationship is called biological classification. You give importance that what is biological, that is, you remember that the scientific, what I have previously told, that same thing, that is same approach of scientific ordering of organisms in a hierarchical series of groups on the basis of morphological, evolutionary and other relationship is biological classification. That means biological classification during the Linnaeus times, during that of Carolus Linnaeus time, it is completely based on morphology. That means during the Linnaeus times, that biological classification is based on completely morphology. That is morphological. That biological classification according to Carolus Linnaeus is morphological. That means he gives stress on morphology. That is morphological distinction, differences among the organisms. That means made him to that of two kingdom classification systems. He propounded that of two kingdom system of classification. Okay, so that it is the scientific. So what is biological classification? The scientific ordering of organisms in a hierarchical series of groups on the basis of morphological, evolutionary and other relationship is called biological classification. Okay, so that another thing, the species is, can you tell me that which one is the basic unit of biological classification? Students, you can see that in that previous chapter, that means in that of living world, you know that species is the basic unit of classification. So even since that of in biological classification, the same thing, that species is the basic unit of biological classification. That is species. So species is that of what? It is the basic unit of biological classification. That is very important. Species is the basic unit of biological classification. You see that which one is the lowest? That means which is the lowest level of taxonomic hierarchy, taxonomy category, it will be the basic unit. So species is the basic unit of biological classification. You have to remember. So you know that biological classification definition. I have told you the two definitions. We have to that we choose one. Which one is that means you can remember well. So you have to give some definition, and you have to remember that the basic unit of biological classification is species. Now we'll have to discuss about that need for biological classification. I have already told you in the previous classes that you have also a subtopic you have discussed about that of need for biological classification. That is need for biological classification. Need for biological classification, because I had already given you that there are 3 points of biology need for biological classification. You have to remember this one, but another thing you remember that since the dawn of human civilization, there have been more attempts made for biological classification. There have been more attempts have been made for biological classification. Okay, but that biological classification instinctively, previously it was instinctively. That means what you coming in the mind, you are making such biological classification. That biological classification based on is instinct, and instinctively you are making the biological classification, and you are giving the stress of our previous need, that is basic needs of human beings. Which are the basic needs of human beings? One is food, then clothing and shelter, and shelter. Okay, in shelter. So in previously, the biological classification was based on the uses of human beings. What are the uses of human beings? That is food, clothing and shelter. So the organisms are being grouped according to our basic necessities of life. Food. There are certain organisms, animals or plants, they are being classified on which are giving us food, and which are giving us clothing also. They are being categorized. Even some animal skins, hides are used, so they were also in a different categories. And shelters, that means from woods, from bamboos, and that you are using for our shelter, and such animals and such species are classified. So previously, that means in ancient times, in previous times, in the primitive times, man were using the basic necessities of life as that is basics of biological classification. So that the ancient biological classification was based on necessities of life. Which are necessities of life? That were best. That is food, clothing, and shelter. So anyone asks you question that what are the basic? That means what are based on uses of various of the earliest classification. The earliest classification was based on the various uses of human being. That means various uses there. So you remember that point. That is a concept. The earliest classification. The earliest classification was based on uses of human beings. Okay, uses of human beings, that you have to remember. The earliest classification was based on uses of human beings. What uses? That is food, clothing, and shelter. These are the uses of human beings. So the earliest classification was based on uses of human being. That is need for biological classification, and that means so that it was made easier to have 1.2 millions, 1.25 millions of animals, and that of 0.55 millions of plants. That means going to that of biological classification, you have grouped such organisms. You have to into different forms, and then that different forms later on based on morphology, that is anatomy, cytology, then ontogeny, phylogeny. That means all these criteria. That means where the scientific criteria are used. But in previous times, that means uses of human beings. Which criteria used? That is the uses of human beings. So grouping was made at that time on the basis of uses of human beings. But the criteria changed. The scientific development of course use different criteria, scientific criteria of classifying different organisms. So, plants. Uses of human being, and that the modern classification was based on morphology, anatomy, as well as phylogenetic, that is evolutionary history of organism. It is very important, as you know that through the carbon dating process, more and more puzzles coming out, and so that new things, new that means vistas you are knowing about that of different organisms. So the scope of classification is being widened every time, all times. It is due to that of basic necessities, which was in the earlier time. Now the scientific approach, scientific criteria of classification, that you have to remember. Okay, and that means that to find out organisms of known character from the vast array of organisms is a gigantic task, is a very difficult task, and it is simple impossible. So there must be, how can know about the vast arrays of organisms, their characters, how to identify the characters of different organisms. So it is very difficult if you have to group them into certain categories. That will be easier to know, because you can know. Suppose you are discussing about the one family, that is Solanum family. In Solanum family, there are so many species, but you know about that of genus Solanum and 2 to 3 species. You can have to guess that species coming under the genus, that is Solanum, might have been such common characteristics. So you are making a general idea about that of different characteristics, and show that from 1 2 organisms under one genera, if you will have to make certain common characteristics, that you are thinking that such characteristics are common for other organisms of same genera. Okay, that means you are just guessing that things, but whenever you are applying the scientific approach, the scientific criteria you are adopting, you are giving that a new, that is you are giving a new approach of that of scientific development. And you see that scientific in biological classification also same approach utilized when that of 2 kingdom system of classification during that of Linnaeus time to that of 6 kingdom classification systems. There have been great change. It is owing to that of new discovery, new thoughts coming, new scientific approach applied, and that make it possible of biological classification a scientific process. Okay, so that now you have to know about that of advantages of biological classification. That means what advantages generally you know that from biological classification. So that is advantages. Advantages of biological classification. It is very important. Advantage. What advantages you are getting? The grouping of organism according to a definite plan is very useful. According, if you have to group organisms in a, that means on, that means if you have to group an organism on a scientific basis with certain common approach, then it will be the more easier, and you can understand that biological classification have certain characteristics, have certain advantages. And what advantages it is makes? First of all, you have to know that it makes their study convenient. That means what it makes? It makes the study of organisms convenient. That means that it makes the study of organism convenient. First, what is the first advantage of Biological classification, it makes the study of organisms convenient. You are knowing more and more about that. That means it is becoming what a hazardous process before biological classification process started. So that it is now that study becomes, and that means it makes the study of organism convenient, and it becomes easier to know about that of various organisms. Then second point, it facilitates identification of organism. It facilitates identification of organisms. Okay. That means it makes the study of organism convenient. It facilitates identification of organism. It facilitates identification of organism. Then it gives broad idea of life as a whole. It gives a broad idea of a life as a whole. Life as a whole. That means you know that the living organisms. You see that one species. If you see that our species have been linked in such a way that if one species extinct, it will have impact on other species also, because those species living, that is several species living a species also. That if that keystone species, you know that a keystone species, that means which plays a vital role in ecology and environment. If such keystone species extinct, that means several thousand species also extinct, because also species dependent on that keystone species. You see that. Suppose I am telling you that of lion. A lion is living in a forest. In a dense forest, a lion is living. And in fear of lion, so the lion, that means the lion killing animals, but killing for food, not at its mercy, not at its will. That means it killings. That means randomly it killing. It kills animals because you know that predators are more prudent in our ecosystems. So they are very clever. If they will kill their prey mercilessly, then there will be want of food. So they are very clever. They will kill only one animal, which is enough for its food, not two animals, because they run after one deer, they run after one buffalo, they run after one prey, and not many preys. You might have seen that means in different geographical channels or any other channels, that is Animal Planet. You might have seen that how that a predator and prey fight, and so that you might have to guess that. And that lion, suppose that lion has also given the safeguard to the forest. No poachers are any. That means that is they have any threatness to going into the forest. They have any courage in going into the forest. So the lion safeguarding the forest. So what lion doing? Lion is safeguarding the forest. Lion is also safeguarding the other creatures, other animals. So it is protecting. So it is a keystone species. And if lion dies, then other animals will be the easier prey, because that poachers will enter into the deep forest, and it will kill other animals, and that means other animals also cannot be safeguarded. They will have to, that is interspecific fight will going on. So that is keystone species. So that you know about that of different species whenever you do that biological classification. Biological classification also establish relationship among the species. So biological classification also establishes relations among species. So this is another important point. So that advantages of biological classification is very important. It enables about the evolutionary trend of various organisms. What it enables us. It enables us also, that is evolutionary relationship among the different species. That means whenever you are doing biological classification, you are knowing about that of a phylogenetic relationship. Phylogenetic relationship, that is very important. That is evolutionary evolutionary history of organisms. That means you are knowing much more about that of from the evolutionary trend, from which source, from which point that such evolutionary process started. So phylogenetic relationship give that evolutionary history of organisms. So you are knowing about that of different species, their historical approach, all such things you are knowing about that. So it is very fundamental to that of biological classification. So phylogenetic relationship established on such a ground. Okay, so that is the advantages of biological classification. Then objective of biological classification. You have to know about that of objective of biological classification. Objective of biological classification. Objective of biological classification. You have to know about that. What objective? Objectives of biological classification. That first of all, that what you have to know to recognize and precisely describe the basic unit of classification. To precisely describe about the basic unit of classification. Basic unit of classification. That means precisely describe about the basic units of classification. What is the basic unit of classification? Basic unit of classification is, students?
Species.
Species, very good. That means you are precisely describe about the basic unit of classification. That is the first point of objective of biological classification. To indicate the phylogeny of organism. Second point is that to indicate phylogeny of organisms. Okay, to indicate phylogeny of organisms. Phylogeny of organisms, and to devise an appropriate method assigning the basic units into ascending series. That means basic unit into ascending series. I have told you that by that of biological classification, we are knowing that which species that will come first, then which species will come second, which species will come third, like this way, first, second, third, so that you are giving the species into ascending order. That means you are describing them, you are grouping them into an ascending order. That means how they will have to arrange in a correct sequence, in a correct way, in a correct manner. How you will have to describe, how you have to classify that organisms. So that is that of that is arrangement of different organisms into an ascending order. It is that of basic things of that of biological classification. So the objective of biological classification, I have told you that precisely describe about the basic unit of classification, that is species. To indicate the phylogeny of organisms and to classify organisms in a correct sequence, so that they will have to be arranged in a correct ascending order. Which species come first, then which species second, which species third. So such arrangement can be made if you have made the correct biological classification. So that is the objective of biological classification. Then we will have to know about history of classification. We have to know about that of history of classification. History of classification. History of biological classification. Okay. That means you know that Aristotle was the earliest. That means if you will have to discuss about that history of biological classification, the name of Aristotle came first. That is Aristotle. The name of Aristotle is the father of biology. That means you have given the designation as the father of biology for his immense contribution in the field of life science. Definitely, that means he made the first attempt how to give the biological classification a concept one. That means a conceptual one. So that Aristotle was the first to make earliest attempt of biological classification. Okay, who made it? That is Aristotle made it. Okay, and that means simple of that of morphological characters. Yeah, like that of Carolus Linnaeus, he gave that of morphological. Okay, morphological characters. Morphological characters. That means he also gave stress on that of morphological characters, like that of Carolus Linnaeus. So that means he divided plants into herbs, shrubs, and trees. Okay, that means he divided plants into three groups: herbs, shrubs, and trees. Okay, that he made that into trees, morphological classify them into herbs, shrub, and trees owing to their morphological size. On the basis of their size, he divided plants into herbs, shrubs, and trees. That is morphological arrangement. And Aristotle also classified animals into two groups. Classified animal into two groups. That is Anaima and Anaima. That is Anaima and Anaima. Those animals which have red blood corpuscles, RBCs. Those animals who have RBCs, they are called as Anaima. And those lack RBCs, lack RBCs, they are called Anaima. So you have to remember that Anaima and Anaima. So those organisms which have RBCs, they are called Anaima. Those which have lack RBCs, they are called Anaima. So that so Aristotle divided plants into three groups: herbs, shrubs, and trees according to their morphology. And he also divided animals into two groups. One is Anaima, another one is Anaima. Those who have RBCs, red blood corpuscles, they are called Anaima. Those who lack that RBCs, they are called Anaima. So it is very important that you have to remember. Aristotle classified plants into herbs, shrubs, and trees, and animals into Anaima. Those who have RBCs and those lack RBCs, they are called Anaima. So Aristotle made such attempt. Okay. Then our Vedic literature. Do we know that our Vedic literature, that is Veda, and in Vedic literature, do you know that our Vedic literature composed in between 2500 BC to 650 BC, or Veda written, that is Vedic literature. That is Vedic literature. Vedic literature, that is Saptasindhu areas, you know that is Saptasindhu areas, that is Jhalam, Chenab, Ravi, Vyas, Satlej, in such regions, and Saraswati mythological rivers. There are 7 rivers that Saptasindhu areas. That means whether it was in that of Western Punjab and that of Western Punjab to that of Northwest Frontier Province and some parts of Jammu and Kashmir. These are called as Saptasindhu areas at that time, and that it was composed, the Vedas were written, the 4 Vedas. Do you know that 4 Vedas?
Yes, sir.
Students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, tell.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sam, Yajur.
Yes. Yes, read. Jajur, Sham, Atharva. Okay, that 4 Vedas. That Vedas composed in between 2500 BC to 650 BC. But you will surprise know that in Vedas there are only 740 plants. 740 plants and 250 animals. In Vedas, only 740 plants. That is name of 740 plants and 250 animals were mentioned. Not more than that. In the entire Veda, that means number of plant species 740, number of animal species 250. That were given. That is Vedic literature. So imagine that. But that scientific process had not been developed in that time of also Vedas, and that the rishis and munis were not acquainted, sages and seers were not known that of various plants and animals. If they had known, but they are failed to classify them, identify them and name them. So the names of only 740 plants and 250 animals mentioned in the Vedic literature that was written in 2500 BC to 650 BC. Okay, now you have to start with that kingdom system classification. You have to now start one by one. You'll have to today you'll have to discuss two kingdom system classification, three kingdom system classification, fourth kingdom system classification, fifth one, sixth one. But fifth one is in your course, and I'll have to elaborately start day after tomorrow, and so that today I'll have to discuss second, third, fourth, fifth simple idea. Then six kingdom classification. One by one, we'll have to discuss. This is not actually some about that of two system classification of Carlos Linnaeus given in your books, and then little about that. What you have to a little idea. You must have know about that of third kingdom system classification, fourth system classification, because there are certain new kingdoms. That one kingdoms newly found and included in that system. So first you will have to start with that of second system classification, second kingdom system, two kingdom system classification. First you will have to discuss two kingdom system classification. Two kingdom system of classification. Okay. That means it was devised by, that is, Carlos Linnaeus. It is devised by Carlos Linnaeus, and there are two kingdom systems, and that means in 1758, in his book, that you know that Systema Naturae, that means he propounded that two kingdom system of classification, and he gave much stress on morphology. So Carlos Linnaeus system is called the morphological system of classification also, because he gave only stress on morphology, that is morphology. And morphologically it was very easier to classify organism, because it was good for that time, because at that time there was no source of scientific discovery, there was no such thesis, there was no idea about that of genetics, about heredity, about variation, mutation, nothing new about at that time. So Carlos Linnaeus, but according to what systems he would have to adopt, so that better morphologically he divided plants and animals. So that organisms which have the cell wall, and he grouped them into that of kingdom of plantae. And those animals that lack cell walls, they are therefore animalia. Okay, animalia. So the plants kingdom, that is plantae, and the animal kingdom, that is animalia. So he divided organisms into two groups, plantae and animalia. But what that lacking? Because he did not know about the unicellular and multicellular organisms. He did not know about that. He did not classify organism into that groups. Even that photosynthetic, non-photosynthetic, because photosynthesis, that means is a system was unknown to Carlos Linnaeus also. So how will we have to know about that of photosynthetic and non-photosynthetic? So that he did not divide the organisms into that systems also. Again, he also multicellular, unicellular, and he also did not divide that in eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So prokaryotes versus eukaryotes, such was unknown. That was unknown to Carlos Linnaeus. That means he did not divide organism into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Even unicellular versus multicellular. Okay, unicellular versus multicellular. Then photosynthetic versus non-photosynthetic. Okay, non-photosynthetic. That means he did not do it. Prokaryotes, eukaryotes, unicellular, multicellular, photosynthetic, non-photosynthetic. He did not touch such things. He did not divide on such basis. Prokaryotes, eukaryotes. He did not divide organisms. He did not unicellular, multicellular. So multicellular in a unicellular group, unicellular in multicellular group, photosynthetic in non-photosynthetic, non-photosynthetic also in photosynthetic, prokaryotes kept in eukaryotes, eukaryote in prokaryote. So it mixed. So everything mixed in that system of classification. So such classification was good for his time because enough was not known and no scientific discovery, nothing was known at that time. So what criteria you would have to take in to classify organisms into different ways. So basically those who have cell wall, he grouped into plantae, those lack cell wall in that of animalia. So he obviously adapted such things. But that system was good for his time due to lack of discovery, due to the lack of inventory of scientific process. So that thing made him easier morphologically. On the basis of morphology, he divided organisms. So that was the lacuna and loopholes of such systems because prokaryotes and eukaryotes, unicellular versus multicellular, photosynthetic versus non-photosynthetic were not known in his time. So two kingdom system of classification was not adopted by the biologist after his death, and this system did not reign for more times, did not continue for more times. So there is a thought of dividing organisms into three kingdoms. So then after two kingdom classification by Carlos Linnaeus, another system came, that is three kingdom system of classification. Now you have to know about that three kingdom system of classification. You know about that two kingdom system of classification. Now you have to three kingdom system of classification. That is three kingdom system of classification. Okay. Now we have to discuss about that. You think that there are two kingdom system of classification? First of all, we know that plantae, kingdom of plantae, then kingdom of animalia. Animalia. So third kingdom is, students, have you any idea which one would be in the third kingdom?
Yes, sir.
That is protists. Okay, that is protists.
Yes, sir.
That is protists. So this is the third kingdom. What he did that for the first time, then three kingdom system of classification was propounded by German zoologist Ernest Haeckel. That Ernest Haeckel. That is, he propounded that German zoologist. He propounded that German zoologist Ernest Haeckel. That means he classified the plantae and animalia. Those plants came under the kingdom plantae and animals in the animalia. But what he did, he brought out that of what? He brought out the single-celled eukaryotes. Single-celled eukaryotes into the kingdom Protista. So that German zoologist Ernest Haeckel in year 1866 propounded three kingdom system of classification, proposed three kingdom system of classification. He was the German zoologist Ernest Haeckel in 1866 proposed three kingdom system of classification, in which that means he continued plantae and animalia. That kingdom remained because these are the important, and then it is not possible to change plantae animalia. Never it is possible. So he brought some single cell eukaryotes from that of plantae, what are made previously in plantae, and gave them to that of single cell eukaryotes. And that single cell eukaryotes name under the kingdom of that means they remained then in the kingdom of Protista. So Protista kingdom was that of that has been that of creation of Ernest Haeckel in year 1866. So nothing you have to, because it is not in a course, and that means only you have to know about that three kingdom classification. Who proposed it? German geologist Ernest Haeckel. In which year? 1866. And what is the new kingdom he included in that system? That is Protista. What is Protista? That is single-celled eukaryotes. Single-celled eukaryotes came under the kingdom Protista. And you will elaborately know about that when you will have to start Protista after kingdom Manira. In this, that means in biological classification, you know all such things. Kingdom Manira, kingdom Protista, kingdom Fungi, and about viruses. So plant and animals in different chapters we will learn about them. So that is all these things. Only you have to remember this one, not more than that. Then come to that of four kingdom classification, four kingdom system of classification, four kingdom system of classification, four kingdom system of classification. Okay. That means four kingdom classification was proposed by Herbert Copeland. By Herbert Copeland. Okay. Herbert Copeland. Who was Herbert Copeland? He was a US biologist. He was a US biologist. Okay. He was a US biologist. And in which year he proposed? He proposed in 1956. In 1956. He proposed it in 1956. So you have to remember, four kingdom system of classification was proposed by Herbert Copeland. He was US biologist. In which year? In 1956. In 1956, he proposed that system of classification, four kingdom system of classification. You know that? That is common, that is Plantae, plus that is Animalia kingdom, then Protists remain, this remain, and what would be the fourth one? Students, have you any idea? That means there are two kingdoms. Can you tell me that which one that included? Can you tell Manira or Fungi? Which one?
Fungi.
Yes, very good. Very good. That is Fungi. Okay. That means Herbert Copeland, that is Herbert Copeland, US biologist in 1956, proposed four kingdom system of classification in which he included kingdom Fungi. That means in Fungi you'll have to know about that of different types of that is classification. In Fungi kingdom you will have to know about that of different classes of fungi, deuteromycetes. That means you are eating that of Bulgaria bulbacea. That means you are eating the mushrooms. That is Bulgaria bulbacea, and that is deuteromycete. That is phycomycete, ascomycetes. You will have to read about that different classes of fungi in that fungi kingdom. When you start that fungi after Protista, you will have to know. So only this four kingdom system of classification you have to remember. Who proposed it? Herbert Copeland. Who was he? He was US biologist. In which year proposed? 1956. Which one? In which kingdom he added to four kingdom existing three kingdom system classification? In existing three kingdom system classification, he added only fungi kingdom. So that becomes the fourth one: Plantae, Animalia, Protista, and fungi. And such thing happened in 1956. So this one you have to remember. Nothing one, because no explanation, nothing is required, because it is out of course. But I am just telling to know little about that of kingdom system of classification. Then come to that of five kingdom system of classification, in which I will just give a gist, and because you know little about today, and next class you will have to know about that. That period will be completely in five kingdom classification. Today you will have to just know that is five kingdom system of classification. System of classification. You know that in five kingdom system of classification, that means who has proposed it? That is R.H. Whittaker, R.H. Whitaker, and he was US ecologist. Okay, he was US ecologist, and he proposed in 1969. In 1969, he proposed the five-kingdom system of classification. Robert H. Whitaker is US ecologist. In 1969, he proposed that a five-kingdom system of classification. In five kingdom, you know that Plantae, Animalia, Protist,
Anjay,
the Fungi. What which kingdom he added?
Monera.
Manera. Very good. That Manera. So Manera. And what he did? Plantae, Animalia, Protista, Fungi, Manera. But he classified them in a correct sequence according to their evolutionary process, according to their evolution. So first he kept the Monera, then Protist, then that of Fungi, and Plantae and Animalia. So he gave a correct sequence of that of organisms in a different kingdom. The kingdom system he made a sequence: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. So today you will know about this one of the five kingdom, and in the next class elaborately because the five kingdom system classification is in your course, and some questions also asked that means that topic, so that you will have to know it better. So you will have to discuss a one period about that five kingdom system of classification. Today you know little about that. It was proposed by R.H. Whitaker. Who was he? He was US ecologist. In which year he proposed five kingdom system of classification? In 1969. And which are new one, that means he created the kingdom Monera. And what sequence is arranged? Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. This much you know, and the next class you know it better. Then come to that of six kingdom system of classification. That is six. That is six kingdom system of classification. That is six. And it is other name is that of three domains. Three domains of life, because you know that domain is much more. That is, domain is a category which is much, that means above the kingdom. That is category kingdom. That is domain. So domain is the supreme, that is category of that taxonomy, in taxonomic hierarchy. That is domain, and it was proposed by. Have you remembered, students, who proposed that six kingdom or three domains of life? Students? Yes. Carl Lutze, okay. Carl Lutze. And in which year, who was Carl Lutze? Have you any idea? Carl Lutze? You have to remember that. He was also US biologist. And in which year he proposed? He proposed in 1990. In 1990, he proposed. Three domains are, which are the three domains? Three domains that archaea, that is bacteria, and then eukarya. It is the first domain. It is the second domain. It is the third domain. Okay. That archaea and the bacteria earlier was in kingdom Monera. That means he divided kingdom Monera into two kingdoms. One is archaea, another one is bacteria. In archaea, that is prokaryotes. That the four prokaryotes kept that, you know, that halophiles, acidophiles, and that of methanogens. And in bacteria, that is eubacteria, cyanobacteria, that is mycoplasma, actinomycetes. So many are in bacteria. And eukarya. Eukarya consists of that of four kingdoms. Eukarya consists of that of four kingdoms. You have known that. Can you tell me that which four kingdoms came under that domain eukarya?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. That means four kingdoms that came under that of domain eukarya. That is Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. 4 kingdoms came under the domain that is Eukarya. So that Carl Uge's proposition of 3 domains alike is known as 6 kingdom classification, because this is the first domain is the first kingdom, second domain is the second kingdom, and there are 4 kingdoms already exist. So that 4 kingdom plus 2, that is 6 kingdoms. So that 6 kingdom system of classification is known as 3 domains of life. It was proposed by Carl Uge in 1990. That one you have to remember. It is very important for your remembering. Okay. Then come to that you know that archaea and bacteria, that means eukarya, and they have common origin. That means all the above believed to have originated from the common ancestor. That means all archaea, bacteria, and the eukarya, they have common origin. You know that you are all human beings, you have common origin. Similarly, that of archaea, bacteria, and eukarya have common origin, and that common origin is called progenote. It's called progenote. Progenote. That is very important. You have to remember. Progenote is the first organism existed on this earth. First organisms. First organisms existed on this earth. Okay. And it was that means first life originated in water. You know that in sheep, first life originated. So mainly Archaebacteria lived in deep sea. In deep sea, Archaebacteria lived. Which one the habitat of Archaebacteria? Mostly in that of deep sea. Okay, that is because life originated from water. Life originated first of all from water, from sea. Going to that region, Archaebacteria live in the depth of the sea, in the deep sea. So that so progenote, you have to remember that the first organism existed on this earth is progenote. From progenote, the development of archaea, then bacteria, then eukarya, like this way that evolutionary process start. So anyone, so you have to remember that so just like I had one day told that you are the Samaveda and you are from that Kasyapa Rishi, from Nagasya Rishi, that means our origin started. Similarly, the origin of organism started from the organism which is called is progenote, Progenote, that you have to remember. Okay, that is progenote. That archaea, bacteria, and eukarya, that they started from that of progenote. From progenote, archaea started, that of bacteria started, then eukarya started, then commonly evolutionary process, through the process of evolution, that from that of single cell to that of multi-celled organisms. So they gradually develop. So it is going to that of a progenote. That you have to remember. Okay, and that you know that which organisms can have to bear the extreme of the environment. Which organism can live in extreme of the environment? If anyone asks, what you will have to your answer? What will be your answer, students? Which organism can withstand extremes of environment? That is Archaebacteria. Okay, that is Archaebacteria, which can withstand extremes of environmental stress. You think that now the COVID situation is going on. It is an environmental crisis. It is that means it is that environmental change. And that environment, those organisms, and you know that human beings just existed 25,000 years back. But Archaebacteria started its origins million years back. Million years back. That is, Archaebacteria started its origin. So many changes in environment. It is found so many changes. It has seen its life, so many changes in environment. But it has certain inner strength due to mutation, due to variation. It can withstand extremes of environment. But you are a human being, you can tolerate, because our existence just goes back to 25,000 years. So you see that during that COVID situation, in COVID crisis, so many people, nearing to 50 lakhs people even lost their lives owing to that of what? That is environmental stress. You cannot bear because our body mechanism cannot mutate, cannot no variation occur in our that body systems to face that of environment, hazardous environment. But that archaebacteria can do it because they have such body mechanism in such a way that they can withstand all such problems. Even they have to mutate themselves. They can have some sort of variations in their life. So they can withstand the environmental clues, environmental crisis, environmental hazards. But human beings and species which just started their lives later before human beings, they could not. Even that of multi-celled organisms cannot bear such type of change in environment. But archaebacteria can withstand all such, and it can bear any problems in their life. It can bear any problems in their life, can withstand all such problems. Okay, students, so this is all about today. And now you'll have to make that start 5 MCQs. Okay. First question. The label of a herbarium seed. The label of a herbarium seed. Okay. The label of a herbarium seed does not carry information on. Does not carry information on. Okay. First one is that of place of collection. Place of collection. B. Name of collector. Then C. Name of class of species. Name of class of species. And then D is that of local name of plant species. Local name of species. Local name of plant species. Which one, students? The label of a herbarium seed does not carry information on place of collection, name of collector, name of class of species, local name of plant species.
A place of collection.
Yes. Option?
Place of collection.
Not hearing, that means I'm not.
A. Option A.
Option C, yes. That is name of class of species. Very good. That is name of class of species. That would be name of a family of species. Instead of class, family name must have to be given. Okay. So the label of herbarium seed does not carry information. That is name of class of species. Place of collection must be there. Name of collector of there. Local name, plant species. It is botanical names, English names must be given. Name of family of species must be given, not of name of class of species. So it is the wrong. So it is the right answer. Okay. That then come to that of question number 2. Which of the following animals? Which one of the following animals? Second question. Which one of the following animals is correctly matched? Is correctly matched. Is correctly matched with its particular with its particular taxonomic category. Okay. Which one of the following animals is correctly matched with its particular taxonomy category. Name of animals. Name of animals. Taxon category. Okay. Okay. Name of animals. You housefly. Housefly. That is Diptera. Okay. Diptera, that is class. Then B, housefly. Then come to Himman. Himman, that is Hominidae, and that is of order. Order. Then come to that of dog. Dog, that is Canis, that is genus. And that of cockroach. Cockroach, that is Blactidae, and that is of no species. Anyone? Which one of the following animals is correctly matched with its particular taxonomy category? Name of animal, taxon category. Housefly, Diptera class. Human, Hominidae order. Dog, Canis genus. Cockroach, Blactidae species.
A.
Yes. Yes, you tell. Option.
B.
That option, that is, you see that housefly, that is Diptera. You remember that Diptera, that is order, so that it is wrong. Human, that is Hominidae, that must be a family, so that is wrong. And you see that cockroach, Blactidae. Last one you see, that is Blactidae, that is a family, Blactidae family, that is not species. Cockroach species name is Periplaneta americana. So dog, so this one is wrong. So dog's taxon is Canis and it is category is genus. So dog is the right one. Dog, Canis genus. Okay, Canis familiaris, you know that dog scientific name. So Canis is the genus. So this has been what? This has been correctly matched with this particular taxonomy category. Dog, taxon is Canis, category is genus. Okay. So this is about that of second question. Then come to that of question number 3. The term species was introduced. The term species was introduced. That is question number 3. The term species was introduced for the first time. For the first time by, okay, the term species was introduced for the first time by German zoologist, that is French botanist. Then come to that US ecologist, and that is British, that is naturalist. Have you any idea?
German zoologist.
No, that is term species was introduced for the first time by who introduced? Have you remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. John Ray. John Ray that introduced the term species. Who was he? He was, you have forgotten. He was British naturalist. Okay. He was English or British? British or English naturalist? He was British or English naturalist. So answer will be D. The term species was introduced for the first time by a British naturalist. That name is John Ray. So the term species was introduced for the first time by a British naturalist. Okay, you have to remember this one. You are forgetting everything. Then select the incorrect statement. Next question. Select the incorrect statement. Select the incorrect statement. Select the incorrect statement. Option A. That a group of interconnected genera, a group of interconnected genera is called family. Is called family. Then B. Then all living organisms have common genetic material, have common genetic material of different types, Then C is that the largest herbarium in India is located in Sitpur, Howrah. The largest herbarium is in Sitpur, Howrah. Then option D. Option D is in Oryza sativa. Sativa stands for specific epithet. In Oryza sativa. In Oryza sativa. That means that is rice. Scientific name of the rice. Oryza sativa. That is sativa. Stands for specific epithet. Specific epithet. Which one is incorrect? Have you any idea? Select the incorrect statement. A group of interconnected genera is called family. All living organisms have common genetic material of different types. The largest herbarium is in Sitpur, Howrah. In Oryza sativa, that is rice, scientific name of rice, sativa stands for specific epithet. Which one is wrong? Students?
Option C.
Option B, very good. Option B. Option B is wrong. You see that a group of interconnected genera is called family. It is true. All living organisms have common genetic material of different types. Not. It will be same type or equal types. Okay. All living organisms have common genetic material of equal types or same types. So different. If different, then means all living organisms have genetic material. Common genetic material in all organisms, the DNA and RNA, and they are of different types, not possible. They are of same types. So that is wrong. And the largest herbarium is located in Sitpur, Howrah, and that of in Oryza sativa. Sativa stands for specific epithet. So this is one right. So all living organisms have come same genetic material. All living organisms have come same genetic materials. That means have common. That is have common. Written wrong here. That means all living organisms have common genetic material of different types. That will be the same type or equal type. So this one is wrong. And the largest and all these are correct. So this one is the wrong. You have to remember. So last one is that which are the following taxonomic tools? Which one of the following taxonomic tools? Write down. Which one of the following? Which one of the following taxonomic tools has a visitor's book. Visitors book. Okay, visitors book. A visitors book to record impression of the exhibit. To record impressions of the exhibit and then suggestion for improvement and suggestion for improvement. I am reading question again. Which one of the following taxonomic tools has a visitor's book to record impression of the exhibits and suggestion for improvement? Option A is that of a museum. Then B is that of botanical gardens. Then C is that of herbariums, and D is that of zoological park. Have you any idea? I have already told you that, that there is a visitor's book in which you have to write the record impression of your exhibits of your visit and suggestion for future improvement. In which taxonomic tool such facilities is available? Can you guess?
Option A.
Museum.
Option A, very brilliant.
Sir, option A.
Option
Yes, sir.
A, yes. Option A. Option A is the right answer. Very good. Thank you. Option A. Museum has a what? A visitor's book. Museum has a visitors books in which you have to record impression of the exhibits. That means of your visit, you have to record it and suggestion for improvement. That facilities is available in the museum. If you have to go to any museum of our country, you will see a visitor's book. That is not a compulsory. You have to, if you want, you can have to write that experience of your visit and suggestion for improvement. Students, today you have not answered well, and I think that for next class you'll have to answer all the 5 questions. You read that means you are getting my notes just end of the period, and why you are not reading before coming to class? Kindly you read my notes properly so that it will be that that means boost your morale, and you will be prepared. Now that means from this day onward you will have to prepare for next year examination or for that of examination of that is 23. So from this time onward you have to prepare. Otherwise, because the cutthroat competition is going on, if you have not scored 600 plus marks in it, there is a very little chance of getting in government college. So that you should be very that means serious about your study. Okay, thank you students. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.